content of this channel is for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. You're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification button. And please, feel free to share the video. Thank you. What's good, everybody? I'm GG, man. You tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser, man, for real. Now, before I get things started, man, I've been having a little bit of audio difficulties, man. I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you can hear my voice right now. Please make sure that you can hear my voice. If you can, just do me a favor and let me know that you can by leaving a 1 in the chat. And then I'll proceed as I usually do. Cool. All right, so everybody can hear me, and that's good. Well, you know, what I want to do before I get things started is to give a shout out to everybody out there in the chat, man. Thank you for coming to holler at your boy, GG, on this Tuesday, May 24th. And you know, 6 days from now will be my birthday, you feel me? The day GG was ushered into this world, man. Real talk. I came into this bitch with a bang. I'll be 52, bruh. I'm an OG. You understand? So, but I want to give a shout out to everybody out there in the chat, man. Shout out to No Guarantees, bro. Appreciate your donation, man. Salute to you, sir. I appreciate your help and your support, man. Straight up. For real deal, Holyfield. And also, I want to give a shout out to ICIP 13. Thank you for that kind and generous donation, sir. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And also, what I want to do is give a shout out to all the members of the Green Gorilla channel, like I always do. But before I do that, make sure, man, that you hit the like button, man. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification button so you can stay abreast of what's cracking here on the Green Gorilla channel, man. Straight up. And I can't forget the haters. I got to greet them as well. I appreciate y'all, man. I love my haters, man. Love y'all. Mwah. Big fat kiss. So anyway, man, let me get to the business, man, and shouting out all the members of the Green Gorilla channel, man. Shout out to Artist and MC, Big Said 658, Nasiana, Kyle J. Sewer, Brotherly Love, Kareem Not Karen, Lord Hemal, Troy Warren, Blacksword 404, and Jeff R. Big up. Big up to Mrs. KP Bailey, Cutting Up with the Jones, Show Me, Ricky Dawson, Rais Mwajid, Alan Wiley, The Face, Lee Ways, Mantis on Break, and Electrician 480. Big up to y'all. Big up to Life of Commerce, Apex Prowler, Julius Ferguson, True 7360, J. Cleveland Green, J. Bino the Advocate, Herbert Lewis, D. Scott, Marvin Evans, Tumbleweave Wrangler. Big up to him. Big up to Rogus Son, L. Fry, Timothy Blewett, Jeffrey Speed, and Marvin Battle Jr. Big up. Big up to Mark Holt, John J., the IDP Expressions, Afro Troop TV, Adam, Tahuti, BGS Ibmore, Ignatz Mouse, Brian Peaks, Papa Didas, and Scott Haywood. Black Uru Strikes, Dr. Tree 33, Leroy Honeycutt, and Broken Blade. Big up to y'all. Big up to Supertech, 77 Base X, Brian McMurray, Karen S., Anthony Davis, Donnell 360, Seven Coast Dojo, Pulpit 28, Charles Rogers, Rick Ross, and Sandra Jean. Big up to y'all. Big up to Charles Gilmore, Patricia Colley, Greg, Barry Little, Mr. Valentino, Jason Hales, Black Men Being Brutally Honest, Cameron 87, Doc LaRock, Mark Swift, and Odd Collard. Big up. Big up to Donald Watts, hiphop.catv, Coach DC, Old Soul Chief, Mr. Blue Collar, Barnolas, I'm Just Jules, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Mr. Heat, Sir Anthony, ML Law, Universal 178, Rashid Barnes, Aaron Smith, DH, Beware the Revelator, Gold Professor, Aaron Infinite, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Kalon Jakala, Hostile ADEP, and W Pure 1. Also, I want to give a shout out to Omni Americana. Although I don't know why you're not appearing as a member, you argued earlier that there was some kind of malfunction going on, that you weren't acknowledged or recognized, but I'm acknowledging you and recognizing you now. And I can't forget my brothers in heaven, Forrest Windu, David Curl, and Kevin Samuels. Big up, man. Straight up, man. Real talk. And I also want to give a shout out to all the people on the Patreon side. Charles Fottentot, I'm the Light of My Father, Waffle Weave, Lamont Latimer, William Joyner, Rufus Winfield, Dornell Smith, Excalibur, Jason Warren, Anu219, Pursuer Prisoner, Taz, Dragon 59, Adrian Hicks, Jay Bailey, Mr. Michi, and Asangwa. Big up to all y'all, man. Straight up, y'all deserve a round of applause. Thank you for so much for supporting the Green Gorilla channel. Word. Big up to y'all, man. I appreciate your support and your help. And if you're inquiring about how you also can become a member of the Green Gorilla channel, if you're watching the video, here's how you do it, man. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely. Straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, we back. You know who I am, man. I'm GG. You tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel. It's the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers. And today, I'm going to talk about a subject matter. I really don't often talk about stuff like this, but today I figured, man, I may as well take a stab at it and offer my opinion. It's what these young rap cats keep doing wrong, man. What are these young rap cats out here doing, man? They catching cases, man. Why are they catching cases? When I was a youngin' growing up, I remember when Rapper's Delight first came out, man. The hip, the hop, the hibbit, the hibbit, the hip hop, and you don't stop but rock it to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm, to the boogie to big. I remember, LL Cool J, Rock the Bells. I remember, even the lady rapper, Sequence, we gonna funk you right on up. We're gonna funk you right on up. Everything was about partying, having a good time. I mean, it wasn't violent. It wasn't filled with aggression and posturing and posing. I mean, it was a little uncouth. I'm not gonna say that hip hop from its inception was just all fun and games. It was a lot of dissing going on. If you know anything about hip hop, like I know about hip hop, this thing, man, was a battle rap thing. It was a DJ and an MC thing with call and response chants going on at parties. And, the young guys would go to the park and they would set their turntables and sound systems up and they would have a good time. Not saying no violence ever broke out. Not saying there was no drug usage or nothing like that going on. Because it was. It was. But I mean, come on, man. Like, what's going on now, man? It's just a whole different vibration, man. And I was talking to a friend the other day, man, and I was trying to explain to him that there was an MC who I think in the golden era of hip hop, man, he basically set the tone for what was to come later. And you might not, like this guy, but his name is Kool Moe Dee. Shout out to Kool Moe Dee, man. Shout out to Kool Moe Dee and the Treacherous Three. Because one could argue, man, Kool Moe Dee is one of the brothers, man, who single-handedly created flowing. Prior to that, it was a bob the bob the bob the bob the diggy diggy bob the bob the bob the bob the diggy diggy. Yo mama, yo daddy, yo cat, yo dog, and all that kind of stuff. Okay? But this man had a battle with Busy B and he ate the dude alive. If you want to get a gander of that, man, just look it up. Busy B versus Kool Moe Dee. And it ain't contemporary flowing. Like, one of the people who refined the flow is Rakim Allah, the God MC. My favorite MC, okay? My favorite, okay? And I want to give a shout out. There's another brother, man, who hit me off, man. I want to give Mr. Blue Collar a shout out, man. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that donation, man. Appreciate that, okay? And again, hip-hop was never absolutely pure. It always had dirty elements. But now, oh my God, now. And before I even start this show, man, I want to point out something, man, okay? I want to point something out. At the outset, okay? I'm not in the business of endorsing or condoning murder, manslaughter, theft, robbery, betrayal, drug dealing, trafficking, gang banging, or any type of other heinous activity. I'm not in the business of supporting that, okay? So before we even start this show, let me get that straight. LOL Summit, or yeah, I guess that's what it is, man. I'm giving you a shout out now. I see you out there. It would help if you give me a donation. I'd definitely shout you out. But at any rate, yeah, and speaking of that, man, please support the Green Gorilla channel, man. You know, we often get put on shadow ban, and these people oftentimes, try to withhold our finances and stuff like that, and they try to do the best that they can to keep us suppressed and our voices muffled and stifled, but we're going to keep doing what we do anyway, okay? And again, some of the things you hear here may be alarming, but the reality is that black men need a place where they can express themselves freely, straight up with no chasers, man. And so that's what we do here, okay? So again, like I said, if you can't make a donation, you can donate a like. How about that? Like BGS said, what up, BGS? Keep them in line, man. And look, if there are any trolls here, will you please kick these clowns out of here, man? Please do that, man. I know I got some members here, man, and moderators here. If you see some clowns up in here, man, get rid of them, man. Real talk. But anyway, like I said, man, I'm not in the business. Thank you, Mr. Good Dad. Appreciate that, man. I'm not in the business of promoting. He says, is a PhD actually worth it compared to my master's? It all depends on what you want to do with it, brother. It all depends on what type of field you're going into and, what the expectation is career-wise and professionally, It all depends, okay? So he says, like, which one is, the best option? But I mean, hell, the way I see it, man, you went as far as the masters, you may as well take it all the way. But again, it may be unnecessary, predicated upon the field that you're going into. So I would have to talk to you personally and figure out what it is that you're trying to accomplish, okay? He says, MMJ13 says, I'm a PhD. Look, man, a PhD is a title. It's a terminal degree. But shit, you should fact check everything I say. Don't take anything I say with a grain of salt. You can argue with me, against me, with me, whatever the case may be. But you always have to be discerning about what anybody says. Don't take anybody's word as gospel. You feel me? So anyway, like I said before, man, I'm not in the business of supporting theft, manslaughter, murder, robbery, betrayal, drug dealing, trafficking, gang banging, or any type of other, heinous criminal activity. So therefore, I don't. Meaning I do not want to be placed in the category of persons who validates and who supports organized criminal activity among young black men. So don't label me like that, okay? Because I think it goes without saying that the commission of such crimes is not only immoral, but it's illegal and should be refrained from on all occasions. Real talk. Now, self-defense is one thing. If it comes down to that, then you got to do what you got to do. But the acceptance and endorsement of a lifestyle that involves deception, intimidation, the loss of life, and reveling in thug and gang culture is backwards, straight up. It's backwards. It's non-productive. Okay? It's outright stupid if you ask me, especially for young black men who have finally found an outlet to generate revenue and to help their family and friends live a productive and stress-free life. But the music industry is not always as it appears. Sometimes people are struggling while they shine on the screen, whether it's a little screen or a big screen, okay? Oh, Rashid Bourne said, I didn't hear the pimping denounced. Yeah, I mean, pimping, that's not something I'm into either, brother, okay? And look, I know a lot of young brothers, man, get jammed up doing some things out here that they shouldn't be doing. But also I want to make a demarcation line to differentiate between nonviolent offenses and violent offenses. Okay, there's a difference. There's a difference. But shout out to Rashid Morris, my brother. Appreciate that donation. Okay, appreciate that. So I'm just putting it on record, man, what my opinion is. Because as far as I'm concerned, what they could be doing is doing what the generation of, rappers from the golden era were doing, which is working on their craft, using it to do themselves and the community some good. But instead, you got a whole bunch of littles, youngs, and babies. Little this, young that, baby this, baby that. And they are literally fucking up the rap game and making young black men the world over look like savages and brutes, bruh. Real talk. Now, to be perfectly honest, I don't know who is most responsible. Is it the labels? The corporations who own the labels? The marketing, the marketing executives, the producers, the A&Rs, the radio stations, the social media outlets that play and promote the music? I don't know who is the most responsible, okay? I don't know, okay? And I might add, they get little to no ad restrictions and ad suitability regulations regarding the content. Real talk. And my man No Guarantee says we are all complicit. And to some degree, we all are. Okay, but look, what I'm not here to do is to deny the talent of these young guys. I think they are talented, but I think that they could be working on their craft and using it to do themselves and the community some good. Because, as they say, music has the capacity to soothe the savage beast. It has that capacity. And this really, that quote originates from a poet and a playwright named William Congreve, okay? Music has the capacity to soothe the savage beast. But we went from, like Biggie said, and Juicy, we went from rapping Duke da to I'm ready to die. What the fuck, man? No disrespect to Big, I thought he was a very talented guy. But the subject matter of these guys has become dark. It's become super dark, man. Okay? But not only is it dark, I ain't gonna go there yet. I'm gonna go there in a minute, though. Many of these guys, man, have good credit. They have good living accommodations. And they have the means to lift themselves out of the conditions that they grew up in if they grew up in poverty, okay? Some of these guys are college educated, like 2 Chainz. But I don't think he's as dumb as these little youngs and babies. I don't think he's as dumb as these guys. You don't see him in trouble with the law, okay? Many of these guys have above average intelligence, whereas many of them don't seem to have any intelligence at all. But those that do have above average intelligence, and to be quite honest, I think a person like Young Thug has above average intelligence. But he's directing it in the wrong place. It puzzles me to see so many of these young black men in the music industry prostitute themselves in a jigaboo spectacle for money and fame, bruh. What the fuck? So let's look at some of the things that these guys are doing. And then I'm going to give my commentary on it. But let me I can't talk about all these guys and the cases they got. And some cases are different than the others, okay? But right now, it seems like the authorities, whether it be municipal authorities, whether they be state authorities, or whether they be federal authorities, they are honed in on the music industry, man. They have honed in on the rap industry. And these rappers know this. They know this. But here's the biggest catch out of all this to me. Again, I gave my qualifying statement. I said, I don't think that it is moral or appropriate or acceptable, legally or morally, to engage in murder, manslaughter, theft, robbery, betrayal of friends, drug dealing and trafficking, or gangbanging, or any other type of heinous criminal activity. I don't agree with it. I think that it should be decried and denounced. But goddamn, bruh, if it is the case, and this is a big if it's the case that you're going to engage in such nihilistic and deleterious behavior, don't be the fucking laughingstock of the criminal world, the civilized world, and defy all the laws of logic and common sense by offering yourself up to the fucking justice system for likes, hearts, subscribers, and clout. And this is my message to the littles, the babies, and the youngs. What the fuck are you dudes thinking? If you got beef, y'all air it out on Instagram. If you have a fight or a physical altercation or even get into a shootout, you start going back and forth with the cats that you fought or had a shootout with on social media. You got motherfuckers that are members of gangs, throwing up gang signs and videos, holding guns and pistols and shit, and automatic weapons, semi-automatic weapons, assault rifles and shit. And these guys basically are telling on themselves, like MF Doom said in his rap song, Rap Snitches Knishes. What the fuck is wrong with these guys, man? What is wrong with these dudes, man? I need somebody to tell me what the fuck is going on with these dudes, man. It's one thing to engage in criminal behavior, which I denounce. Again, I'm qualifying my statement. But if you're going to engage in this nihilistic and criminal behavior, don't be the laughingstock of the fucking criminal world, man. And defy all laws of common sense by offering yourself up to the fucking system like imbeciles, man. What is wrong with these dudes, man? First of all, you shouldn't be doing the shit. And if you are doing the shit, what the fuck are you doing posting your shit out there for the public to see, man? What is wrong with you guys, man? It's not enough for you to engage in immoral and illegal behavior, but you want everyone to see it. I'm pretty sure that there are some Italian mobsters who took things too far. Okay? Who, you know, were out in the public a little too much. Who were a little bit too vociferous. Right now I'm watching this TV show about the making of The Godfather. It's called The Offer. And it's a really interesting television show, man. Okay? They have a few figures, historical figures in the documentary. And one of them is a mobster. I can't remember what his name is right now. Columbo, I think is his last name. Okay, he was a little bit too vociferous. He's a little bit too in front of the camera, a little bit too much in the press. But the one thing that he wasn't doing in the press was communicating his various or opening up about the various criminal acts that he was engaged in, man. Queen T Royal, the topic is, what's wrong with these young rappers, man? What is their issue? What's wrong with these guys? You know, I left a video out there with MF Doom, and he says, rap snitches, telling all their business. Going to the courtroom, they their own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here. Fuck around and get the whole label set up for years. Do you see the perpetrator? Here I am. You're your own star witness. But I want someone to tell me, what Italian mobster or gangster have you ever heard of that went back and forth with an opposing family member in a fucking newspaper? Huh? one. What member of the triads? Because everybody in the world, every ethnic group has a group of gangsters and criminals. Every ethnic group, the Russians have them, the Chinese have them, the Japanese have them, the Latinos have them. Have you heard any Latinos on fucking social media other than stupid nine, sick nine, who's a fucking idiot? Have you seen any Latinos going back and forth about their fucking beef? Have you seen MS-13 on fucking Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube? Huh? Have you seen the triads or Asian gangsters on YouTube or even on television? Have you seen the Yakuza making videos and singing songs about how savage they are and how down to commit murder they are? Have you seen the Russian mafia engage in such idiocy? What is wrong with young black men, man? What is wrong? Sugar T, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You know, typically, if you want to join the stream, the link should be popping up in the chat if that's what you mean, okay? If that's what it is. So I'm gonna put the link right there right now. So if you want to come in, you can speak your piece. All you gotta do is come in with a computer. It'll be on your phone. It doesn't matter. It could be an iPhone, a tablet, whatever the case may be, to join the stream. But there it is right there. I'm asking, what is wrong with these guys, man? What are they thinking? What is wrong with these guys, man? I know we've gone through slavery and how horrific the conditions were. Okay, we got Queen T Royal.
Good evening.
Queen T Royal, what's cracking? What's good?
Hi, good evening, sir.
I can't hear you, boo-boo. Hold on. Let me see. Let me make sure I got my shit right.
Okay.
To determine whether or not you, hold on. Because I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. It's my fault. That was all my bad. Technical difficulty on my part. I've been having audio difficulties. Okay? So explain to me what you feel about this issue, or what you think. What are your ruminations about the subject?
Well, you know, I came in on the back end. I really didn't actually get the information that you were saying earlier. And I guess it's doing with these young people, but you know what? They don't know how to develop the knowledge of their heritage. You know, to know your past is to define your future. You got to develop respect for each other, because respect between individuals makes for a stronger, united people. And most of them don't develop clear lines of communication between parents and children, because that's the only way clear understanding is going to exist. The only way. And I feel for this young generation, the millennium generation, because I'm not trying to get religious or anything, because it's talked about in the book about the millennium generation, and I see it. It's recognizable. You know, it's not hopeless. They just need a hand, you know, someone to show them the right way, like they did with my generation. I mean, my generation wasn't all that. good, because we had all kind of crazy people going on, these serial killers back in the 60s and the 70s. But I don't know. I can't answer for this generation. I really feel for them because their future is so bright. We wasn't afforded all this luxury and all this stuff that they get now, and it's just, I'm just
Yeah, I
sad
get
about
it. Look, I understand. I don't know what they're thinking. Like, okay, my whole viewpoint on this is this. I condemn all that behavior, okay? But I will say this. Every group of persons, whether it be Asians, Latinos, white folks, Italian folks, Jewish folks, they all have crime syndicates, okay? They all do. They all engage in criminal behavior. There are no people who have races or ethnicities who don't also have incorrigible derelicts among their demographics. You understand what I'm saying?
exactly. I sure do, and you're
Okay.
so right.
But my problem is this, not condoning any of the behavior, but what is going on in the minds of young black men to such an extent that even those who are engaging in criminal behavior are posting their behavior out for the world to see. What is going on in the minds of these young guys? That's my view. That's a question I'm posing it to everybody. Okay? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I think where these cats are going wrong is, first of all, I think many of these guys have a fatalistic view of life. They don't care about dying. They expect to die. They don't care about being free. They expect to be in prison.
Wow.
I mean, even going back to the 90s, you got Biggie Smalls saying he's ready to die. You got Tupac. Listen to this music, man.
Oh yeah, I heard all of that. Yes.
If you
You're
listen
right.
to the music, and I'm not knocking the music, as much as I'm trying to gain understanding about it and wondering what is going on through the souls of young men to such an extent that they feel like being totally and absolutely nihilistic and fatalistic.
I love
I
how you
don't
articulate
understand
the
it.
word.
And look, CNCCMI says, Clark and co-creative media innovators, you're too smart to waste time on this subject. But I want to talk about it because I'm worried about black men. I'm worried about young
Bravo.
men.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. What's your name? I really like
I'm Green Gorilla. They call me Gigi.
that. Okay. Oh, and I got a daughter named Gigi. Okay. All right.
Yes. But that's short for Green Gorilla.
All righty then, Green Gorilla. That you're speaking excellent words. You're articulating them right. A lot of people may not understand it, but a lot of them don't even know the rules for being human, Mr. Green Gorilla.
And before I go forward though, we got a problem with the young ladies too.
Oh, they lost themselves. They don't
Cause
even know
they got songs like Wet Ass Pussy.
Oh no, please. That. Oh, come on. I don't even want to go there, please.
They
I
have
don't.
songs, that basically talk about, how much of a city girl they are and how they're exploiting men and how they're robbing dudes in hotel rooms and like it goes both ways. But I am worried predominantly about young black men because it seems like they're the ones who are engaged in the most fatalistic kind of behavior.
You know what I want to ask these young ladies, our black young ladies, please, is what's up with these false eyelashes and all of this false stuff? You're injecting yourself. You don't even love yourself. You're trying to be something you're not. the best thing for a black woman is if you're in your natural elements. Your king will love you to see you in your natural elements. He don't want to see you with all these bird things on your face, and another thing these ladies need to know: if a man cannot be your man unless he is his own man, that's the only way he is going to be a man to you. He has to be a man to himself. He don't need that nagging. He don't need none of that crap.
Hey,
Just
you done
let
said
that
a
man.
mouthful right there, Queen.
Yeah, just let that man be a man.
I'm gonna give a
These
props
men.
for that one.
Oh,
You
but
feel me?
thank you, sweetie. Oh,
But
thank
but but,
you.
but and so my issue is this: we went from say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Like, okay, I grew up. I'm almost
That's,
fit. I'll be 52 on May
I'm
30th.
62.
Okay, so I'm an
I'm
OG.
62. I'm
Okay, I'm an
62.
OG. So I grew up listening to Public Enemy. I grew up listening to KRS-One. I grew up listening to Rakim. Now, I don't know if you know who these artists are. I don't know if you're into hip hop at all. Some, people from our generation are not. Okay? But that's what I was into. I was into Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Paris, Big Daddy Kane.
Yes, Big Daddy Kane, yes.
I was into that. But I don't understand these. And look, I'm not going to say that when I was 20, 22, that I wasn't listening to NWA and that I wasn't listening to Too Short and I wasn't listening to, MC8, that I wasn't listening to DJ Quick. I was listening to that music. But one thing I know, those guys who were actually rapping, gangster rapping, they weren't getting locked up for murder for real. I mean, but nowadays you got so many of these young guys, man, getting arrested on charges of murder, trafficking, drug dealing, RICO, racketeering. I don't understand what's going on with this new generation. And even as they do these things, they're letting the whole world. Why would you let the whole world know that you're engaged in illegal activity? That's my point. So I'm gonna duck you off, okay? So thank you for
All right,
joining me.
thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. Your kindness won't be forgotten.
Thank you. So I just don't understand what these young rap cats, they don't understand, man. As their music could be used to uplift, it doesn't have to be utilized in order to dumb down the black population, man. Y'all can do something beautiful with this art form if you so desire. But I'm wondering where the OGs at. The OGs, but you know what? They have no respect for the OGs. That's the issue. The OGs ain't the ones in the corporations that's signing these guys. It's just sad to see. I think these guys are in a deep bout of depression. Let me just show you something real quick, man. Look at this shit, bro. I want you to see it for your own self, man. I got a couple of articles here, man. Okay? Let me show you, bro. That's Young Thug, man. Okay? Many of y'all know who he is. Influential rapper, whatever the case may be. And the article says, for today's generation of hip-hop fans, Young Thug is as influential and visionary as Outkast was. Now, Outkast, even though they talked about some pimp stuff and they talked about smoking weed, they eventually became mature and grew into manhood and evolved with their age. They evolved as they got older. My problem is that these guys are not evolving. His oft-imitated style, melancholy and machine tweak, yet melodic and flamboyant, places him right beside Future. Whatever. Okay, all the accolades. That's partly why the sweeping gang and racketeering indictment against the Atlanta rap star Jeffrey Lamar Williams and 27 others associated with Young Slime Life crew came as such a shock to his home city and to the music world. I don't understand what's confusing about it. How could you even potentially or partially be confused about getting arrested when you're talking about the very shit you're doing that's illegal in your music? You know that there's police task force relegated strictly to observing the actions of hip hoppers, rappers, producers, whatever. You know they're already watching you. So what the fuck are y'all doing? There's a 56 count indictment that alleges that Young Thug is a central figure of Young Slime Life. He can't deny it. He can't deny that he's the head of Young Slime Life. Which Georgia prosecutors say is a gang that committed or conspired to commit a long list of crimes, including murder, aggravated assault, armed robbery, carjacking, theft, and drug dealing. It's a twist Young Thug may have anticipated in his music. Feds came and snatched me. I don't know, no point in asking. Which he rapped on Take It to Trial, which prosecutors cited in his indictment. Now it could mean a 20-year prison sentence. And let me give a shout out to this brother right here, man, who just left me a chat for, let me give him a shout out, okay? And he says, the definition of manhood is distorted for folks. Legitimate productivity seems pointless and out of reach. And discipline is not instilled in our boys enough. Amen. Amen. I agree with that. To that, I agree. His attorney told the Times that Williams was not involved in any criminal street gang activity whatsoever, and he described the charges as baseless. Prosecutors claim in the indictment that Young Thug's YSL crew, Young Slime crew, engaged in criminal activity in protecting and enhancing the reputation, power, and territory of the enterprise, thus demonstrating allegiance to the enterprise and a willingness to engage in violence on its behalf. Then the Fulton County District Attorney says, my number one focus is targeting gangs, and there's a reason for that. They're committing conservatively 75 to 80% of all the violent crime that we are seeing in our community. But there's a history of hip hop that transcends all of this shit here. That doesn't have anything to do with murdering, killing, drug dealing. We know it can sell otherwise. Why are these guys the most popular guys? And why are these guys so stupid that they're letting everyone know the fucked up shit that they're engaged in on social media? And even in their own songs. This is making us look dumb as fuck. I'm just saying. And it's making them look dumb as fuck. Again, you see Russians doing this. You see the Chinese doing this. You see the Japanese doing this. You see the Latino gangs doing this shit. But he's not the only one. You got this guy here. YNW Melly. Young nigga something Melly. I don't even know what YNW means. I'm just assuming that it means something with a young nigga something. Okay? And he is being served with a case that potentially could carry the death penalty. Shout out to BGS, man. Thank you for your support, bro. If you can, please throw some support to the Green Gorilla channel. This guy is facing death, maybe perhaps, in a double murder case. Florida state prosecutors announced that they intend to seek the death penalty in the double murder case against the rising rapper YNW Melly. The 19-year-old rapper, 19 years old, bro. But he's 21 now, okay? So this is an old article, okay? This is an old one. Real name Jamel Demons was indicted alongside 20-year-old Cortland Henry on first-degree murder charges after their two friends were shot to death late last year. Now, if those are your friends and they dead and you getting tried for double murder, man, with friends like that, man, I'd rather have enemies, man. If this is what you do to your friends, shout out to Mantis on break. Appreciate that. I got another visitor here, man. I'm gonna bring him up, man, because I don't get it, man. Hannibal, you are on the Green Gorilla Show. What's cracking, bro?
What's up? What's up? I just want to speak on something right quick, and if people disagree with me, that's cool. Cause I'm really not a regular, but like how this all has started, like came about with these young guys in the music industry is really due to everybody copying the Chicago drill scene. And I'm 35, but those guys like a little younger than me. Like they still in their 20s, basically late 20s right now at this point. So when Chief Keef, who got discovered by a person from Philadelphia, when he got discovered, the whole world was interested in him because of his music video that they shot at his grandma's house called I Don't Like. And it did look interesting. It was something new on the music scene, and you saw a bunch of young, basically black boys basically thugging it out and stuff. They had the guns and stuff in the videos. So now you have people that's from other countries like Europe and stuff that's making these Chicago drill pages. Then you have DJ Academics. He comes onto the scene. So everybody is paying attention to what's going on in Chicago. And these people are on Twitter beefing with each other. But they not beefing for clout or music. Like this is really some street stuff, like really gangbanging stuff. But the people that's beefing with each other and exposing their criminal activities on Twitter are connected to people like Chief Keef and Dirk. So the whole world is watching this. And they seeing that Chief Keef, Lil Durk, Lil Reese and them are getting rewarded. So now they are copying this. And I know people not going to agree with me, but I'm from Chicago and I paid attention to this. And I lived in these areas where these people was at and with all this crime and stuff that was going on during it from 2012 all the way to 2015 or 2016, 2017 when it was really on fire in the streets over there.
Okay, so you sound like a Chicago cat. I got three brothers and two sisters that live in Chicago. Two of my brothers are from the West Side.
Yeah, I'm from the South Side.
Yeah,
so this is
Yeah, I'm, like, bruh, I ain't a Chicago native, but I may as well be, bruh. You know what I'm saying? I'm old school Chicago too. The docks with the Doc Berry shake, the fish wish junior, or the fish wish with
Yeah,
cheese.
yeah, yup. So yeah,
You know
cause
what I'm saying?
I'm
I'm
35.
Italian Fiesta Chicago, home
Right.
run in
See, yeah,
Chicago.
see, I'm 35, so you already know I experienced everything. My parents had me young, so I seen a lot and was outside at an early age, whatever. I'm just not a knucklehead, but this is why this is happening right now with everybody in other states in their music scene, because everybody's copying us at this point. And I'm not here to toot our horn or whatever. It's nothing to brag about. It's actually sad and it's actually corny. Like I don't respect New York drill scene. I don't respect none of this stuff because people don't understand. Like Chicago culture is different from everybody else. We don't let people come into Chicago and start up a gang or anything. You can't come in Chicago and take over territory or nothing. So it will never be Bloods and Crips in Chicago. Never.
That I agree with. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? There will be talking about put it on Larry, and
Oh yeah, with the quickness. So
there'll be
you
people talking about folks, and then people talking about you know the whole nine. But I have yet to see
every
any outside influences coming to Chicago and then basically set up shop like the Crips and the Bloods did during the
with
height of the crack era. I did
yeah.
not see that in Chicago.
Even
Okay,
even though they did come through there, but we just didn't play. We don't play that. We just don't play. And
but the difference though. Okay,
yeah.
the Chicago cats back in the day wasn't rapping about this shit.
Nah, and this the thing, like once they tore those projects down and a lot of the big dogs got locked up, like the twins and them and the whole other people I'm not gonna name, like Lil Durk and them is the product of that. Their parents was the ones that got locked up for 20 years, 25 years. So this is
So
how all
this is a generational on your hand. So basically, this is a generational ecological problem. What I mean by that is this is the results of these are the results of 20 to 30 years of the decline in fatherhood in the home.
yup.
It's the decline of economic opportunity in Chicago because I know, look, I understand what Chicago used to be like. Okay, look, I've been visiting Chicago, and there always were gangs in Chicago. Okay, always. My father talks about gangs. Okay, and he even knew some of these guys, Larry Hoover and them guys. Okay,
Yeah.
and they tried to intimidate people here and there, but at least initially, their mind state wasn't let's terrorize little old ladies and let's just murder people indiscriminately in the streets. The shit wasn't predicated upon those principles.
Nah, it was more structured and honestly, like in the early 2000s, the gang banging kind of calmed down and it went to like it turned to blocks. So if you from this block, my block is beefing with your block, and but really, when nobody really like on that gang banging time until it came about in like 2010. But now it's it's crazy because now it's BDs clicking up with GDs. But at first they was rivals. Now it's you may have GDs, Stones, and Vice Lords on this one block, but they going against the grain and now they repping their block. So you may hear them say, JoJo World, Google World, and all this stuff. That's the people who got killed on their block. So that's how the youngins is getting down now. And then back then, you know, If you was a GD and you got into it with the GDs, then you claim insane GD, and then you went against your GDs. But now it's like, the BDs against BDs, GDs against GDs. It's a lot of madness, man.
I
But that's
think it's
the
madness all across the
yeah,
board.
but
And
that's the results of them locking up the older people. And like I said, Lil Durk and them, they the product of they fathers and stuff was locked up. They uncles and all of this stuff. So then it's funny because Rob Manuel brother is connected to the either the music. He just connected to the to Hollywood, period. So I'm not gonna get into no conspiracy stuff, but Obama become president, and now everybody's focused on Chicago, and now you have people from other countries are posting up videos of what we doing and what we saying on Twitter.
but here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is real important, and I'm gonna let Mr. Good Dad say something. No, I'm gonna let Mr. Good Dad say something first because you brought up a very relevant point. Mr. Good Dad, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm all right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, appreciate that. Let me leave out this building. So I wanted to speak on with what Hannibal just said. I don't know if you guys watch Dr. Tiasan Johnson's streams, but every now and then he mentions these black masculine turning points where something really big happens, and it kind of just is it changes I don't want to say the environment, but it just sends out signals. Um, with Hannibal talking about Chief Keef on my YouTube channel, God, it's windy. I interview a lot of the rappers that are in my city, or I did in the past. And one of the things that really stood out, one of the questions I would ask is, who was your favorite rapper and why? And time again, Chief Keef kept coming up. Now I think in high school or maybe right out of high school and college when Chief.
You dropped off.
Yeah, he dropped off, but um I'm gonna try to finish what he was saying. Basically, the reason why everybody keeps saying Chief Keef is because the world witnessed him basically get rewarded for bad behavior, making disrespectful songs, talking about smoking dead people, his ops. We the one that came up with that ops. And then you got goofies now making songs saying ops this and I'm smoking on this person and and this is why this stuff is going on. And I just don't respect a lot of these people because it's corny at the end of the day. No disrespect to people in New York, but a lot of New Yorkers claim they original and a lot of stuff originate. I mean, that's up for debate, but Chicago is just the home of everything original. I don't care what nobody say at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, look,
Cause
I'm gonna give Chicago its due on a bunch of different fronts. Okay, I'm gonna give Chicago its due on house music. I'm gonna even give Chicago its due on Kanye West and his rise into the music industry with the production of New York artists. I even know the old school man. Look, I was in Chicago, man, and did rap music myself as a younger man, but my message was totally different. I was not, a murderer, killer rapper. It was no need to be. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And there was a talent showcase for Jive Records. I participated in that as a youngster. Okay. I go to Chicago, man, as a youngster in the early 90s. There weren't any real, like, straight up rappers to discuss or talk about other than Common. You know what I'm saying? Or the producer No ID. It wasn't. There weren't any, major Chicago rap artists. So this new influx. I mean, in the 2000s or the late 90s, you had Twista and the Pope Pimpin' guys, Do or Die.
Yeah, Do or
okay?
Die. Yeah.
And you started to see, like, there was the one girl who signed with Ludacris. She was from Chicago. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I give Chicago its due, but I also give New York its due, okay? But New York has allowed itself also to be influenced from LA music and Chicago. Right now, New York is a free-for-all, man. You got a lot of young guys there who are basically in the same kind of social economic circumstances, and they're emulating the behavior that they see on TV. So now kids from New York are fans. Okay?
Yeah.
Just like, kids from Chicago were fans. Okay? But hip hop now, or rap music, whatever you want to call it, whatever incarnation, everyone can see it all over the world. There are no boundaries now to rap music. There are no geographical areas where one cannot influence the other, where something is evolving, in a spot on its own.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. The media is too broad, and it's too pervasive. It's too ubiquitous. Okay, what I mean by that is it can be seen. A kid in Kansas City can make a record, and everyone all over the world can see it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem I have, though, and you alluded to this earlier, and this is what's embarrassing about it. Everybody from around the world is commenting on our behavior, our moral depravity, our illegality, and how we regard one another, and what we do to one another. For little next to nothing. I want you to consider this YNW Melly guy. He killed two, I can't say, it's alleged that he killed two people that he fucking recruited to the label that he promotes.
But he's connected to King Von. Him and King Von was real tight before YN Melly got locked up. They was real tight. I'm telling you, this stuff is deeper than what we think it is, man.
But what are these guys doing though? It's one thing for some shit to be deep. It's one thing, you'll never stop young men or old men from engaging in conflict. Okay? The question is, how do you resolve it? Okay?
Yeah.
Now, it's one thing to get into a fight with a guy and then you get to go home. It's another thing to have a disagreement with a guy, put the shit on social media that you disagree with this guy, shoot the fucking guy, and then put the shit on social media, and then act like you ain't did shit wrong and that you're an intelligent guy. To me, that's the criminal shit 101. And I'm not saying I condone criminal activity at all. But in the handbook of criminality, the first rule is, don't fucking get caught. Am I lying or am I telling the truth here?
No, you telling the truth. I don't know why the youngins in Chicago started going on Twitter. And that was one of the reasons why I had got off of Twitter, because they would literally stalk Twitter, and if they saw that you was connected to one of their ops and you was saying something, you was gonna get your head blown off. And it has happened multiple times.
Hold on. He says it is what it is. They smashed YNW Melly's mama, GG. Not many men forgive that. Now, I don't know. Look, I don't know.
I heard they was extorting. They was trying to extort him, and that's why he did what he did. A lot of people were saying they was trying to extort him.
But here's the catch.
It is what it is.
But here's the catch. Here's the catch, right? If you know a motherfucker's trying to extort you, don't be around the motherfuckers. For one, create some distance between you and those guys. And if you do something, these guys, man, have no understanding, man, of how to engage in criminal behavior. But I'm not even endorsing it. I'm not giving sanction to it. I think this shit is stupid. If you're in the music industry, you're already getting extorted from the beginning. From the T-top, you're being exploited. You're being extorted. You're getting a high interest loan, higher than a credit card interest loan, okay? To be in when you sign a deal in the music industry, okay? But extorted how? This, it's so many rumors going on, but here's the biggest catch and the thing I wanted to say at the last, man. And I'm gonna let y'all talk, and then I'm about to go off because I ain't gonna make this no 3-hour show, okay?
Was I able to
Guess
be
who
heard
is
last?
profiting? Guess who is profiting, and who is basically commenting and creating media and monetization off of this shit? Guess who's getting paid off of all of this trauma and dysfunction of black men? Who's getting paid off of it? And Hannibal alluded to it. It's white boys on YouTube. All they have are channels. They get thousands, hundreds of thousands of hits talking about the stupid shit the young black men are doing, man. And it sickens me to see it, man. And it's all white boys talking about this rapper, that rapper, what this rapper did, how this rapper got into trouble, how this rapper had this to say on social media. And it's become ridiculous, man. It's getting to the point where it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I'm tired of seeing it. So all you young niggas, all you little niggas, and all you baby niggas, y'all need to do something different, man. That y'all have to begin to do something different. I'm encouraging you, man. Take the music in a different fucking direction, man. Now, I can't change the minds of young folks. They think we old and lame. Okay, it is what it is. But come on, man. We out here the laughing stock of the world. Y'all not engaged in any serious criminal activity. Y'all in beef over bullshit. Yep, DJ Vlad, Rizzle, all these damn channels, man. White dudes making money off beefing from black dudes. And these Negroes, you niggas you fall right into that bullshit. Mr. Good Dad, finish what you got to say, man. And then I'm about to close this shit out.
Appreciate that. I don't know where I got cut off at in the other when I first started, or if I cut off right when I started talking. But Hannibal pretty much hit it right on the head in regard, in my opinion, when he said the Chief Keef when he came around. I interviewed, I should say, rappers in the local area on my channel, and if you go look on my channel, one of the highest interviews is a rapper named Zoe, Mad Zoe. I interviewed him, and then while I'm editing the interview, a couple of days later, bro died. You feel me? Got shot. Rest in peace. But the same way that Dr. T. Hassan Johnson talks about the masculine shifts or the moments where something really critical has happened that black men can't ignore it. One of the things that happened in music and what I kept running into when I was asking these dudes, who's your favorite artist or who was the most influential artist for you, was the name Chief Keef. And when Chief Keef popped on the scene, I was in high school and I remember that wave. That was some powerful stuff, man. Every party or anything you was at, you was bumping some drill music. And I can't imagine the effect, or I'm realizing now the effect, the same way that I look at 50 Cent is the same way that these guys look at Chief Keef, and that the people who came after him and the door it opened. I say all that to say, when you have money, serious money backing that, coming in to say, hey, don't change none of what you're doing. You just keep doing what you're doing and rap about it. I'm just going to throw you some bread. I don't see any way for this to change or stop. Just being completely honest. And that's not even including or discussing the simple fact that some of this is just straight up beef on wax, where you can put $1 million in both these guys' pockets, put them in the hills, they still gonna shoot each other on the side if you see it. So it's a combination of issues, man. And I don't know. It's going to be something hard to change. But Hannibal definitely was onto something when he mentioned Chief Keef. That name rang up too many times in my interviews, more than I can count on my fingers, from men my age who still rapped and younger, for it not to be something. He had a serious momentum shift in regards to what was popular, what could be monetized in terms of rap, hip hop, and the overall culture of get back and death. I don't like saying it like that, but yeah, I'm done. That's all
Well,
I
thank you,
really
man. I
say.
appreciate you taking some time, Mr. Good Dad, to come to the show. I know you're probably not a regular. Shout out to Dr. Tiosan Johnson too,
Oh
man.
no,
Go
I
visit
am,
Dr.
man.
Johnson's channel. He's a friend of mine, so we rock with each other from time to time and appear on each other's show from time to time, and we also talk apart from social media. But I'm just, I'm worried about these young guys because I feel like they're trying to live up to an image of manhood that's going to end up, destroying them in the long run. Like, is the shit worth it? In the end, like, it ain't fun to sit in a jail cell. I know. But one thing I would never do while engaged in illegal activity is disclose to the world what the fuck I'm doing. It's stupid to me. The first rule is don't talk. Keep your shit quiet. These motherfuckers telling on themselves, man. And that's the issue I got with them, man. And I got the issue with them doing the shit to begin with because it's stupid. But then to prostitute yourself for money and to carry this shit out into the street, it's problematic, man. And somebody has to say something about it because nobody's saying anything. Everybody wants to monetize this fucking coonery and foolishness. I'm sick of it. Guys clout chasing. It's one. Back in the day, we had different ways of clout chasing. Today, you got a clout chase by murdering somebody or getting sent up for murder. That's the kind of clout I don't want. That's just my opinion. Anyway, Hannibal says, I appreciate you for letting me in. You're welcome anytime, brother. You're welcome anytime. And what he had said, what he had sold or whatever, I don't know. That's Spencer Cormier. I don't know how to pronounce all that. It's too many words pushed together. Oh, what the
Head
asshole?
asshole.
Some shit like that. Okay. Spencer Camellia is smart, but it stings to have him break down how dumb these rappers are with their money and behavior. And that's the issue. We're letting the world know how fucking dumb we are. And it's the selling, the commercialization and the monetization of black dysfunction. And I don't like it, man. I personally don't like this shit. I thought this shit was gone. I thought it was over with, but it just keeps resurfacing. And I'm tired of seeing this shit. I'm just tired of seeing these little youngs and babies. And I'm tired of the bigs. And I love Biggie Smalls, like great rapper. Okay, what he had, asshole. I see it now. I see it. But I'm just tired of this dysfunction, man, being publicized. But anyway, Big Sandal, talk to us, man. Let us know what's going on, man.
What's up, Q's, man?
What's up, Q?
Shout out to Hannibal, man. Shout out to the people in the panel in the chat.
And shout out to Mr. Good Dad as well.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Mr. What people, kind of going back, what people need to understand is that back in the day, because again, I'm from Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, in East New York, Brooklyn specifically, and I spent a lot of time in L.A. County when I was a kid, and then also in Riverside, California. And growing up, before a lot of dudes got locked up, with the war on drugs, I remember the real gangsters in my hood. They used to shun young kids from getting in their lifestyle. They would tell us when we were kids, yo, y'all could go to school. Y'all don't gotta do this. You know what I'm saying? So like in between, like I said, especially in New York City, again, that's like I said, that's how it was. You know what I'm saying? Up until up until the culture broke. And going back to what Hannibal was saying was that hip hop originated in New York City, and a lot of those early rappers, them dudes came out of Nation of Islam and the 5% movement. So what happened was is like, so for example, a lot of people feel that New Yorkers or New York rappers were arrogant. But what happened was that at a time, black consciousness was at the center of our culture. Because you got to remember, Marcus Garvey happened there, the Nation of Islam happened there, and a lot of them dudes, some of those dudes came out or had experience with those movements. So think about it, right? So if you look at LA, right, the biggest think about it, their controversial rap group or the biggest selling thing that came out will be NWA. If you go to New York City, that's Public Enemy. Public Enemy and NWA have very different messages. You know what I'm saying? And so there was a time for us where, again, we had street rap, like, Cool G rap, the streets of New York and all of that stuff. But what I can tell you the difference is, if you listen to Cool G rap, if you listen to Pop, Brenda's Having a Baby, when you finish listening to them songs, you was like, damn, I don't want to end up like that. But what y'all had out down south, the Midwest, and out west, you would listen to them songs and be like, "Yo, I think I could do this," right? And me coming up from New Yorker, so what happened was that a lot of music that people were making in other regions of America, it didn't make sense to us because we didn't have that. Again, we didn't have that experience. So it wasn't a thing of arrogance. It just didn't make sense. And I'll prove it to you because when Ghetto Boys came out with My Mom's Playing Tricks on Me, that was a hit in New York City because it made sense. Like, the things like at a time for us, the whole thing of that wasn't in New York City yet. We had project crews or street crews, and okay, and if somebody got knocked off, that's because that person was in the life. So New York City, when I was growing up, had very specific lanes. Yo, if you was a street dude, you're here. If you're a nerd, you're over there. But it just seems like for the rest of Black America, it was kind of, I don't know, man. I think it seemed like it was kind of like a hodgepodge, of different things, that were integrated, within the culture. And so even for me, like when I would go down south, when I went to school and stuff like that, and I saw dudes getting in the street culture, for the life of me, I could not understand what was the appeal. And I ended up discovering that it was the music, right? Because I'm telling you right now, I grew up, East New York, Brooklyn was the murder capital of New York City when I was a kid. So you got to remember, New York City had what, 10 million people and some change when I was a kid? And I think like what, a million plus or whatever, or somewhere in there, lived in my neighborhood alone. You know what I'm saying? And when them dudes used to start shooting, it was no fun snatching my little brothers from the windows and all of that stuff and sitting in the hallway until the shooting stopped, right? And so, again, and the point, like I said, the point that I'm trying to make is is that, um, and what I should have said was that, again, a lot of dudes got locked up because, again, when I was a kid, a lot of our OGs was like, yo, I ended up this way through my own circumstances, but you dudes can go to school. And then the other part of it was that, and Gigi, you know the record industry better than I do, right? If you had dudes going up to the record industry saying, yo, we're gonna be the next Tribe Called Quest, or I'm gonna be the next Dell or Funky Homo Sapien, they're like, nah, fam, that ain't what move you this. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's but that's the problem I have with this shit though, bruh. Like it just seems like the older guys, man, like in these executives. That's why I said initially, when I came out with my my opening statement related to all of this. I don't know who's more responsible: the labels, the corporations that own the labels, the marketing executives, the producers, the A&Rs, the radio stations, the social media outlets, right, who play and promote this kind of music. Because I want you to think about this shit. Like a lot of people don't like reggae music. And some of the reggae music is liquor shot, boomba clock, blast off type shit. And there's violence in Jamaica, but it's counterbalanced with, with music praising God and giving thanks and praise to Jah. And I'm not saying that there's no guys in the music industry in America who don't praise God or whatever. But I mean, you'd be hard pressed to see those guys like be catapulted to the top, except for Kanye West. Okay? But like these guys, even like Tupac praised God, even DMX, which was, a lot of his shit was morally reprehensible. Okay? And he was on some knucklehead shit too. Let's just be honest. DMX was on some bullshit, okay? But at least these guys had God in the music at all. These guys are like worshiping the devil type shit now.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, fam.
Like this YNW Melly guy, I got murder on my mind. Like, really? You wake up, you got murder on your mind. Like, huh? Like, you are detailing too intimately what it is that's giving like these people an excuse to incarcerate you, bruh. And we knew that like NWA, Eazy-E might have been a dope dealer in the past, but you knew this shit was an act to some degree.
Yeah. But that's
this shit went from an act to now these guys are like actually like this is what they have. Like this is a way of life, a zeitgeist. And I'm just quite frankly, I'm like, we got to do something better than this shit, bro.
Yeah.
And I understand Black Think Tank, I get it, these little bastards were raised by the delusional, self-hating black mom. Look, I get it, man. Single motherhood families, the lack of fatherlessness, the lack of mentors, the lack of people to help guide them in the right direction. It's a lot of issues, though. That's one amongst many. It's a constellation of issues that gives rise to this. But one of the things I wanted to say also, though, Sand Dog, you had the 5%ers in New York, right?
Yeah.
You had Marcus Garvey, the Garveyites.
The Nation
you
of
had,
Islam.
I'm pretty sure you had Black Moor science temples in New York, right?
Correct. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, correct. We had all of that, yeah, because New York City is like that the Harlem that would be one of the centers or maybe the epicenter of Black consciousness. So it was Pan-Africanism. It was all there, yeah.
But however, in LA, you also had the Oakland chapter of the Black Panther Party, Huey P. Newton and Seal.
Yeah.
Like, so these guys have a tethering to liberatory movements in the Black community. But I did a show on gang culture and how it evolved, right? If you really want to know how gang culture evolved in Los Angeles, man, please go watch the movie Bastards of the Party. It kind of reveals like what happened in LA that gave rise to the emergence of Black gangs. Because many of these gangs in Los Angeles, Black gangs, like the Gladiators and I think the Slaughsons and shit like that, they came out of a necessity because these guys were being intimidated by white gangs, like the Spook Hunters. These guys would be going to school and then they get jumped on by white kids. So they formed their own gangs as a means by which to protect themselves.
Yeah.
However, they began to, engage in more illicit kind of activity, especially after the Black Panther Party dissolved and all of the talk about revolutionary action dissolved. Okay? And the same shit I can see happening in Chicago, the same shit I can see happening, all over the country where you have gangs. Okay? Now there's no, if you want to kill the body, all you got to do is kill the head. Or if you want to create chaos in the body, all you have to do is eliminate the tactical leader at the head. And then people aren't going to know what the fuck to do. And these young guys don't know what the fuck to do. Okay? It's like the Hatfield and McCoys. A lot of these guys, man, don't even know why they're in a gang, the founders of the gang, what the principles initially were of the gang were. That's like being like an Omega and not knowing who the founding fathers are. Like, I don't know Just Love, Cooper, or Coleman. I don't know nothing about them. I don't know when it was founded, why it was founded, none of this. And that's an issue, man. And to them, it's just, okay, well, you know, it looks cool or some shit like that. That's the definition of what manhood is about. Or my perception of what manhood is. Not taking no shit from nobody. I'm a badass motherfucker. You know? But at some point, man, like, these guys, man, like Melly, guys like Young Thug, they need to be talking to these young cats, man, like, man, disband this shit. Stop it, bruh. It ain't worth it, bruh.
Yeah. But
at some point, they need to take responsibility and say, hey, bruh, this shit we doing ain't worth it, bruh.
Yeah. But the question that I have, Gigi, is that in the world of hip hop, because of other forms of music, people have students and understudies and schools of thought. So then my question would be is, you know, did KRS-One, did a lot of the, you know what I'm saying, again, and chances are they did, but did a lot of these guys, have understudies? And the problem is we're all at fault because ultimately the main problem is that we didn't have any control. We didn't have any control over the culture and how it was put out and how it was represented. And so, like, think about it today, Gigi. Do you think, as the music industry exists today, do you think that they would let another Public Enemy come out?
That's hard to say, bro. Like, I don't think that a Public Enemy can exist in today's day and age and be as popular as Public Enemy was. Like, but it's possible. I think it's possible, provided that provided that it's good and it actually speaks to these young guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I was young and Public Enemy spoke to me, dog.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it hit me. You know, like the message, it hit me, bro.
Yeah.
If I could,
and you know, like, look, it is what it is. He says Gilly and Wallow tried to talk to, and they have a television show. I mean, well, a YouTube show. Gilly and Wallow, his brother, right? And he's like, they tried to talk to the, Young Thug before the RICO, and they ignored the OG. So it's one thing to ignore that shit, but right now some motherfuckers only learn from experience.
Yeah.
Hard head, like didn't your parents used to say a hard head make it soft behind?
Correct. Yeah.
So now he got some balt sense. Oh, he say Wallow was his cousin. I thought it was his brother, but hey, man, I remember when like Gilly first came out. Yeah, that's us. I forget the name of his clique or some shit, but they came out around about the same time Nelly was popping.
Yeah, but Gigi, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, so for example, like in New York City, when Snoop came out with Gin and Juice, that's what I'm saying. It was a hit. I'll never forget. Like, so outside of the Ghetto Boys, the first dudes that hit from the South in New York City was Outkast. So when they dropped Southern Cadillac playalistic music, and the first thing they ever played from Outkast in New York City was "You Gotta Get Up, Get Out, and Get Something." And it was that, I think it was that. Yeah, you gotta get up, get up. And we went nuts because, like I said, it was subject matter that made sense for the environment, just like what you said. And I don't think a lot of people understood that about New York City at the time, was that Black consciousness still in New York City at that time in the 80s, before Big and Jay-Z kind of hit, Black consciousness was prevalent in the culture. So a lot of our a lot of our hip hop was again Harlem Renaissance, so a lot of it was jazz based, and everything else. So it was a completely different outlook, right? It was a completely different outlook than what you probably would have had in out in greater Black America. It was different.
Yeah. Well, anyway, man, the only thing I wanted to do, man, was to come on today
Yeah,
and to talk about what these young cats, rap cats, keep doing wrong, man. And
yeah. But the thing is, Gigi, is that we would have to control them. So, for example, like I believe that there's a new consciousness in sports and entertainment. Like when you look at what Deion Sanders is doing in Jackson State, right? So even now, like you got Nick Saban from Alabama salty because Deion Sanders is in Little Jackson State taking these top flight recruits. So what would have to happen is that in the as we progress and as we grow, because I don't think like how we talked before, Black people don't necessarily give themselves credit for their progress and everything else. And so I think that as we progress, as we go, if these young dudes have to go through Gigi and Jay-Z and all of those dudes to make their money, then that's how you control image, what goes out, what people say, in the whole 9 yards. So it's very different when I gotta go through Kanye and Kendrick Lamar versus somebody sitting at Geffen Records at Warner Brothers. Different, completely different.
yeah, I
Can I
agree
ask
with
you
that.
guys a
But
question
yeah,
before
go
we
ahead,
get
Mr.
off?
Good. And this will be the last one, and we're gonna wrap it up. Go ahead, Mr.
I
Good Dad.
appreciate that. Do either of you guys lend any credit to the idea? And it's not really an idea; it exists, but the notion of I think it's Vanguard, the Fidelity, Vanguard, the investment fund, but they're like one of the largest shareholders in like the Correction Corporation of America, or one of those prison groups, and they also own shares, pretty sizable amounts in Sony Music, Universal, those music companies or media companies, I guess is the way to put it. I've heard this before, and I'm surprised nobody's ever really kind of dug into it. But the idea of using music or kind of the funnel into the prison profits to make more money off that type of thing, because there is definitely truth to the idea of there being energy, or I don't want to say programming, but a vibe, I should say, to a music, to certain music. And I don't know, just something I've thought about before, that I wouldn't put past people.
Well, let me just say this, man. Well, thank you, Mr. Good Dad. I'm gonna take you down, and then I'm gonna let Sandog wrap it up. I'm gonna say what I got to say to answer that question. We'll answer the question, and then because Sandog is my frat, and we gonna chop it up. I'm waiting for him to get ready to come on the show, and give me that outline so we can get to it to show that Black men haven't really actually been cowards in this country, and that ever since the inception of colonialization and slavery, there's been resistance. Okay, so this coward narrative needs to cease and desist. So we're gonna do that. But look, bro, this is what I do know about music. Churches use it, mosques use it, cults all throughout history have utilized music in order to generate different moods within congregations or within members. It's music has an emotive effect on people who listen to it. It just is what it is. It's gonna always be that way. Now the question is, what are you programming yourself with day after day after day after day? What are you imbibing in terms of imagery day after day after day after day? What are you affirming day after day after day after day? Okay? Yes, music has an impact and an effect. And also, look, we already know that white folks don't really give too much of a damn about us. We already know also that, racism can come in many different kinds of ways. It can come direct, it can come indirect, it can come through subterfuge, collusion in nefarious ways that you don't even know about. it wouldn't surprise. I've heard that anecdote before though. Like the music industry, you know, basically is trying to, like the sirens on Ulysses' ship, call these guys in so they can be devoured. Okay, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Odyssey and Ulysses, you know, tying himself to a mast so that he could hear the song of the sirens without actually dying because he wanted his crew members to tie him up. But the whole point is, man, these songs, man, have power. And the question is, you know, what are you imbibing? What are your children imbibing? What is getting these kids into that frequency? Because that dude was 19 when he engaged in that shit. But, you know, murder is a young man's game. It just is what it is. Murder is a young man's game. So, Sand Dog, man, tell us what you think, man, and then we're going to be up out of there, man.
Yeah, man. Don't worry, man. You'll have that outline on. You'll have it this Saturday. I'll send it to you. So don't.
Okay.
It'll. Yeah. So you'll get it this Saturday. But you know, it's just that, GG. Like us. You know. Again, I just believe that we have to. You know how we talk in the manosphere, or what Dr. T. Hassan Johnson is saying, that when you look at something as the manosphere, how important it is, especially with your documentary, right? The understanding of media and its inner workings, and the power of controlling your image, right? And then also the message that gets out there. So in our community where there's not much economic opportunity, right? One of the places that people may funnel into is the narco economy, is the gang culture, because that's where these young men, sad and most unfortunately, some of them will find positive male identity. And
But
so,
but 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 the only problem I have with it, Sand Dog,
yeah,
is that, you know, even the Italian young mobsters, man, they wanted their children to be respectable as they grew up. Even if they took over their industry, crime syndicates or whatever the case may be, they wanted them to do so in a sophisticated way. This shit it bears no semblance of intelligence. It's just a whole bunch of rote emotion and savagery.
yeah, but that's what I'm getting at, GG. So again, you got to remember, right? So you know that Bumpy Johnson, like a lot of dudes who got locked up in the '90s, behind this stuff and everything else. So again, it's kind of like kill the men and leave the women and children to fend for themselves. And this is somewhat, looking at where we are now. Like I said, this is what you end up with, right? And so as time goes on, like I said, we would have to evolve, and I'll talk to you one day in the future behind the scenes. But when people say, well, all we are is in entertainment and everything else, that's something that's very important, because entertainers, movies, television, they, to your point, they have an influence on the way that people think. So the fact that Kevin Hart has a Heartbeat Productions, or The Rock owns Seven Bucks Productions, etc. So Jay-Z has Title and the things that he has. Kanye West, what is that, Feel Good Records, or whatever the case might be. And so what would have to happen is that we would need to take control of our own media, and then and again and walk away, or produce music that's different than the images that we have now. And so a lot of that is, being able to control your own. A lot of that is based upon being able to control your own narrative. Because, like, the dude that produced NWA, that's what he said about the East Coast music. He said everybody's serious, and nobody's smiling, and it should be more upbeat and more fun, and et cetera, et cetera. And so it's, you have to you have to control you have to control your own image. So, and we have to, and that whole appetite of, I gotta get out the hood, I gotta get mama out the hood, right? We have to kind of take a pause on that. So if you read the Bible, and this is my closing statement, if you read the Bible, remember Esau and Jacob, right? So Isaac, peace be upon him, peace be upon them all, right? So Isaac was the father, and he was about to give the blessing to Esau, right? And Jacob stole Esau's blessing because Esau got caught up and thought he was going to die or starve to death. And in that moment, Esau gave away his birthright to his brother Jacob, the supplanter, right, for the sake of a meal in that moment, and ended up losing his blessing. Right. And so, that I know easier said than done. You know what I'm saying? Easier said than done. But once we stop selling our birthright, once we stop looking to eat in that moment, and God willing, then man, we can take control over our own destinies.
Thank you for joining me, my brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate your your commentary and your contribution, man. And I'll be waiting for that outline
Yeah.
on Saturday,
Yeah.
dog.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Rue, I'll holler at you later. Chaos Rain, I'm about to sign off, man. I'll give you 30 seconds. Say what you got to say, man. You got 30
what's
seconds,
good?
bro.
What's
What's
good?
good?
What's good? Well, I'm not long with always, Gigi, but I'll say this. If it's Biggie Small's birthday was a few days ago, when he would have made 50. And I'm thinking back music for the last 25 years when these particular artists and one friend shared something what these two artists was trying to do before they were met their timely demise, and see how the trajectory of where music was really heading as the mid 90s start to go to late 90s. That was go straight down the pull. You get me?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think it was intentionally do that because they know certain old school hip hop rap artists that was born in a certain era wanted to get more control of their music, and they had to get that do some things. And since then, you see these youngsters that were a product of either 80s, 90s, and stuff that are adults. That's the effects. They should have no feeling or nothing what they do. They're not maturing. They're just on regression. And that's one thing I want to leave off. And that's something people should think about. So what we see now with what's the name, Young Thug or wherever these cats are, is expected. And I should see more in the coming years now.
For
Because they're
sure,
no
man.
longer. But that's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you, Chaos. You getting kind of noisy now, but appreciate your commentary, dog. I'll holler at you. Appreciate it. So look, all I'm trying to say is, again, and I said this when I first started the show, I'm not in the business of endorsing or condoning illegal activity, whether it be robbery, drug dealing, trafficking, gang banging, robbery, theft, manslaughter, none of it. So don't place me again in that category of persons who validates and supports organized criminal activity amongst young black men. Don't put me in that category. Okay? And these young guys could be working on the craft of music itself and doing themselves and the community some good. And, I don't know who is to mostly blame. Is it the corporations that own the labels? Is it the labels themselves? Is it the marketing executives, the producers, the A&Rs, the radio stations, the social media outlets? I don't know. Who's the most? That's up for you to determine for yourself. But a lot of these young guys are intelligent, but just because you got intelligence doesn't mean that you got common sense. You can have theoretical understanding and technical wisdom, technical understanding, and still lack practical wisdom. But last but not least, you got us out here looking stupid by putting all your business on the streets. Now you got white boys on social media making money off your fucking stupidity. Wise up, young brothers, man. Wise the fuck up, man. Get your shit together, man. Find a way to make money in another way through music. Whatever we do, they gonna latch to anyway because it's gonna be creative and inventive. Okay? It's been this way since We start doing music in this country, and black men start doing music all throughout the world. Whether it's reggae, whether it's hip hop, whether it's jazz, whether it's blues, whether it's rock and roll, we started all this shit. We can do whatever we want to do with music. But damn, if you're gonna be engaged in criminal activity, now the only good musicians out here are a group of motherfuckers engaged in illegal activity. That's all we got. That's it, huh? I call bullshit on that. I call bullshit on the marketers, the fucking record label executives, the A&Rs. It's more fucking shit that y'all can select to put out here and to promote than that bullshit. They're making these people are monetizing our pain, man. And our misfortune. Find something different to talk about, man. Stop making the same fucking mistakes, man. Stop doing dumb shit out here, bro. So, at any rate, GG is out of this joint, man. I'm about to put on some music for y'all to listen to, since they say the music soothes the soothes the savage beast. I'm gonna give you some music, man. Lo-fi hip-hop, man. Just gonna run 24/7, man, while I'm in between doing shows, man. That's what I'm about to do, man. So you can listen to some music, man, that'll soothe your soul. It's all instrumental. You can study to it. You can work to it. You can relax to it. You can chill to it. You can listen to it. You don't have to listen to it. But I'm running that shit 24/7, man. Until the next time we meet, man, I'll holler at y'all later. I'll probably be back tomorrow because I got some shit to talk about. I got to talk about Brittany Cooper. I know other people have already covered the subject. But I want to talk about her. I ain't going to talk about her long, though, because I've already said what I had to say about feminists. But, you know, black feminists in particular. But, you know, equating us to mass murderers, like, we don't even do that. Like, we don't even... We commit murder against each other, but we don't just kill innocent bystanders in masses and shit. We don't kill 15 to 20 people at a time and then write manifestos about hate and shit like that. We just don't do that, man. But to be compared to those kind of guys, man, come on, man. That's erroneous. So I gotta have a quick statement about that. So I'll do that tomorrow. But anyway, man, peace to y'all, man. I'll holler at y'all on the next one. I'll be at you with that music within the next 30 minutes. Peace out, man. Holler at y'all later, man.